City Council meeting for the City of Buellton, July 9th to order. If I could get everybody to stand and lead us Pledge of Allegiance. City Manager's got the flag. You want to go ahead and start it, Scott?
Certainly. Place your hand over your heart and repeat with me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Thank you very much. Linda, if you could do roll call.
Sure. Councilmember Andresic.
Here.
Councilmember King.
Absent.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mercado.
Here.
And Mayor Sierra.
Here. Thank you very much. Do we have any reordering of the agenda?
No reordering of the agenda this evening.
Thank you very much. Public comments are next. This is when you have an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes about anything you like, dislike, want to see happen in the City of Buellton, whether it's on the agenda or not. I don't have any public comment slips. Linda?
Yeah, you do. You do have.
Do you have anything?
Yes, she has some. Actually,
For public comments?
for
Dave?
one moment. Do you have? She has public comments.
Yeah. So, did you get the one, Holly, from Hudson Hornick? That was sent.
I do not have. I have a no.
Okay. That was sent on Monday, and it was a comment. Do you want me to go ahead and read it?
Would you please read that one, Linda?
I will. So it's from Hudson Hornick. He lives in Buellton, and he's sent this in on Monday. Hello, this comment does not pertain to any specific item on the agenda, but I would like to voice my concern about the perceived, at least, spike in break-ins in Rancho de Maria recently. This year alone, there have been numerous car break-ins and attempted car break-ins, and there was also a recent situation which occurred on Industrial Avenue involving accidentally closing a garage door with perpetrators inside the building/residence. It seems like the amount of break-ins has increased recently. I and many in the area would like to know what Buellton City Council are doing to address this issue. Thank you, Hudson Hornick.
Thank you very much. I did not print that one. Are there any other public comments? I know our city manager wrote a nice response to him, and council can't comment on that during public comment. But were there any other public comments, Linda?
No, that's all I have.
Thank you very much for reading that one. Sure. I am closing down public comment. Moving on to the consent calendar. We have 6 items there. The minutes of June 25th, 2020, regular city council meeting. List of claims to be approved and ratified for payment to date for fiscal year 2019-20. Consideration of amended contract with Willows Group for fats, oils, grease, the FOG Sanitary Sewer Management Plan, the SSMP, and Industrial Discharge Programs Implementation. Item 4, consideration of amended contract with Autosys for SCADA, Instrumental Electrical Technician Services. Approve the 2020 Buellton Sewer System Management Plan Update, the SSMP. And contract amendment to the agreement for animal control services between the County of Santa Barbara and the City of Buellton for the year 2020-2021. Gentlemen, any questions about the consent calendar, or is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar as stated.
Thank
Second.
you.
Councilman King, second.
Councilman King, welcome. Linda?
Yeah.
Okay. Vice Mayor Mercado.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember Andresic.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Aye.
And Mayor Sierra.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, do we have any presentations tonight?
No, ma'am.
Any public hearings tonight?
No public hearings.
Thank you. Then we move on to council member comments / items. Councilmember King, it's good to hear your voice. Do you have any comments or items you'd like to bring up?
Yeah, we need to get back into the chamber so we can have face-to-face meetings.
From your lips.
Talk to Gavin Newsom.
Councilmember Sanchez, anything from you?
No, I just echo that remark. I think we should have them we could have them at the school, stay apart. Maybe have a big meeting, but that's
Be hard to video it, but yeah. Councilman Andresic, any comments / items?
I think I'm in unanimity with the other two council members,
Got it.
Thank you.
Vice
but
Mayor
it falls on
Mercado.
deaf ears.
I'd agree, but we do have,
We should speak up anyway.
so that's all the comment I have.
I wanted to thank everybody who participated in our 4th of July, the Cigna family, Megan DeCiccio, our Buellton Chamber of Commerce, and the local residents. I think we had, I'm thinking it was 12 cars that drove through the streets of Buellton tossing candy and some man dressed as an eagle flapping in the back of a pickup truck. It was very much appreciated. The chamber and Megan also helped with goodie bags that had 4th of July paraphernalia, just treats for residents. So those who couldn't get out at least had something to look forward to. I wanted to thank John Sanchez, Councilman Sanchez, for helping a resident who was injured on Avenue of Flags, and he'd asked a couple people, he'd asked a person for help, and the person said, "I can't help you." And all of a sudden, Councilman Sanchez showed up on the scene wearing a cape and a Superman big S on his. Anyway, truly, that's what Buellton's all about. And please, 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 where the governor, I know everybody is tired of this COVID-19 and we all want to get back to normal, but please wear a mask. I mean, this is the only way we're going to get past it. So those are my comments and items. Then we will move on to written communications. Do we have any tonight?
None tonight.
Mr. Wolf?
No.
Okay. Committee reports. Has anybody had a committee meeting?
No.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, the
Yes.
the CCWA operating committee met today at 9. CCWA, I believe Rose was probably there. I had a conflict. I did not attend it, but I think it went according to oil. Nice agenda item. If Rose has any to add, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman Andresic. Ms. Hess, anything to add to the CCWA meeting?
Nothing that we can discuss at this time, but CCWA is moving forward and reviewing solar power project plans for energy cost savings throughout their system as well, and they are still looking and doing some contract negotiations with the firm that they're using, and are moving forward.
Thank you very much. Councilman Sanchez, you had your hand up?
You know, I had an Arts and Culture Committee meeting on Tuesday, and it was nice. We met in the rec department. We did our social distancing, and it was a nice meeting, and all did a good job. And we got a couple of good projects coming up I think everyone will enjoy. We'll worry about that in August, I guess.
How are our hubcaps doing?
I didn't get an update on that. Okay.
Somebody took them.
I'll work on that. We're trying to cut down on crime in Buellton. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, then we're going to move on to business items. Agenda item number 7 is the presentation on the Santa Ynez Valley Traffic Circulation and Safety Study. Ms. Hess?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of City Council. Tonight we have before you a brief presentation from SBCAG. We have 2 representatives, their Executive Director, Margie Kern, and Mike Becker, who's one of their directors. And This study has been going on for a little over a year now with numerous public outreach, which included the first kickoff with a bus tour throughout the valley, which includes areas in Buellton, to discuss issues for traffic safety and traffic circulation for all of our local agencies here in the valley. With that, there is also several public workshops that occurred within Solvang. The one that was supposed to occur in Buellton was changed to an online version because of COVID. And then there's also various coordinations amongst staff as well. So we can reiterate the concerns that we've received from our residents over the years. With that, the study is coming to its conclusion with a draft that's been, I think it's been presented to the SBCAG board as well, and to TTAC, our technical subcommittee. And we have SBCAG here to give us a brief presentation on that study.
Thank you, Rose. Good evening, Mayor Pierre and council members. I'm Mike Becker, the Director of Planning at the Santa Barbara County Association of Governments, or SBCAG. I'd like to thank you for having me tonight, and I would also like to thank Rose for the invitation to discuss this work. I'll be providing a broad overview of the Ynez Valley Traffic Circulation and Safety Study, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. This slide highlights the nuts and bolts of the project, some of which I will expand on further in the presentation. To start, this work began several years ago by Mayor Sierra, the former Mayor Solvang, Supervisor Hartman, the various SBCAG directors, fielding concerns from the Valley's residents related to traffic circulation and safety in the Valley, and then relaying them to SBCAG. Discussions with Caltrans occurred. It was determined the best way to approach a project to look at the Valley was to seek funding through Caltrans' Sustainable Transportation Grant Program. For that, SBCAG developed a partnership with the Ynez Band of Chumash Indians and submitted a joint application for that program. We were ultimately awarded $300,000, and SBCAG and the tribe each also contributed $25,000 for the required match. Though the grant was awarded to SBCAG and the tribe, we worked closely with the other agencies throughout the project, including Caltrans, the two cities of Buellton and Solvang, the county, as well as the CHP. The project began in January 2019 and concluded last month. The ultimate purpose of the project was to holistically assess transportation in the Valley as related to mobility and safety. As it is a study and not a plan, it is used to analyze issues and develop a list of potential improvements. The results will then be fed into various planning efforts. This is how a project starts. A study is used to identify issues and potential improvements. Finally, we built this project around community engagement. We only know so much, and we wanted to make sure that the people who travel throughout the Valley every day are the ones that pointed the way. This map shows the generalized area that we focused on. We frequently referred to it as the triangle study due to the focus on the triangle formed by the 101, 246, and 154. The vast majority of the focus was on the state highways, but there was some limited focus on county roads, particularly in the Ynez area. This in the next slide highlights some of the data we collect. We developed a micro-simulation model of the Valley based on real-world conditions. The dots show intersections included in the model. We also collected a variety of traffic counts along segments. We used a floating car to measure travel time. And we assembled traffic safety data. This shows where we conducted the 24-hour count. We conducted a typical weekday, which is common. We also conducted, at most locations, a Saturday count to see what the difference was between weekends and weekdays. And then we came back and we did a sampling of summer counts to determine the difference between summer traffic and non-summer traffic. As I mentioned earlier, we built this project around community input. In February 2019, we conducted a bus tour that was open to anyone who wanted to come. We had about 45 people on the bus. In September 2019, we had a public workshop at Hotel Court with roughly 85 people in attendance. And finally, as Rose mentioned, we conducted a virtual public workshop in May of this year. And that was originally scheduled for an in-person meeting in March, but that changed due to COVID. This slide shows a broad outline of how we conducted. We began by collecting data, and that includes getting the initial input from the public that we received through the bus tour. We also reviewed plans and studies that exist to see how they relate to the study area and the concerns it would look at. And following all data being collected, we shared it with the public during the first public workshop. With what we had learned that far, we built the model and analyzed the areas of concern as well as the potential improvement options. That became the draft study, which was presented to the public in May. There were a few minor edits to the study that followed the May workshop. And finally, we closed the project out through SBCAG board's acceptance of the findings in June. And note, as this is a study and not a plan, is intended to form planning process and not be prescriptive. To better manage the large geographic area of the study area, we subdivided into 4 sub-areas. As you can see here, sub-area 4 covers the city of Buellton. There are 3 primary improvements that we assessed for the city of Buellton. One, which is shown on the map there, is number 17 on the east side of town. As opportunities arise, work to better define the flow of traffic. This is accomplished through access management by consolidating and aligning driveways and better defining turning movements in the center or the 2-way left turn lane. It could be reconfigured as a median where necessary, or if driveways are lined up, they could function better as an intersection. Number 2, which is shown as number 19, to better accommodate non-motorized traffic across the 101, where both crossings in the city weren't necessarily designed with non-motorized traffic in mind. The study supports a trail along the river, which the city of Buellton has long been working for, and we have other projects going on to advance that. This would allow pedestrians and cyclists to travel beneath the 101 without dealing with the auto traffic on the 2 bridges. And finally, which I know is the primary concern, or one of the biggest concerns of Mayor Sierra, is a study looked at how to slow down traffic on the west side of town along 246. We found that excess capacity could be removed. Back when I showed the traffic count data, we conducted a traffic count at the western city limit, and we found roughly 13,000 vehicles a day cross into or out of Buellton on the west side. And as a rule of thumb, a 2-lane road, being 1 lane in each direction, can accommodate 20,000 vehicles per day. And there are plenty of examples where a 2-lane road accommodates 22 or 23,000 vehicles a day. The current configuration could accommodate in excess of 3 times the traffic that currently uses it. Additionally, it's flat, straight, and wide, all factors that lead to or facilitate high speeds. The study supports and found that the road could easily accommodate taking it down to 1 lane per direction on the west end from either Avenue of Flags or Industrial. And on to the next slide. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions. Your staff report provides links to the draft documents, and as I mentioned, the SBCAG board approved the final study last month. So on our website, the SBCAG website, you can find the final documents, though they're very similar to what was included in your staff report. My email address is on the screen. You can feel free to email me with any questions, or we could set up a phone call if you'd like to discuss it further. But I'm happy to take any questions that you have. And so you can see me. I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Mike. And Margie Kern, the director of SBCAG, is on the line as well. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Becker, regarding the circulation study, the traffic studies that were done in Buellton in particular. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
None. Art?
Madam Mayor?
Vice Mayor?
Yes. He was saying, thank you for presenting this, Michael, of consolidating the road on the west side of town. But the numbers coming from the east through Freer were much higher. So will that not continue to create a bottleneck in downtown Buellton through till you get past Avenue of the Flags? With that, the numbers being maybe, there were probably 200 more vehicles.
I think on the west side of town, particularly west of Industrial, the road is overfilled. It's, like I said, it can accommodate 3 times of what the demand that's currently placed on it. So I think, yeah, you do create a bottleneck situation if you reduce it. There's already a bottleneck if you go further out of town.
Right.
So, you know, that if the goal is to ultimately slow down cars or slow down the traffic, a bottleneck would assist in that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Councilman Andrusik, did you have a question?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. If there are no further questions, I just wanted, I don't have any speaker slips. Linda, has anything come on for agenda item number 7?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I just want to thank Mike Becker and all the participants. SBCAG took the lead in this, and it was something that really needed to, it's something that's been needed to get done for a long time. And it pointed out a lot of issues throughout the valley that need addressing, the traffic by El Rancho, some of the 154 safety problems, and for us in particular, Buellton. So I truly appreciate you guys coming tonight and giving a presentation to the council. Thank you.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Okay, no public comment. That's about it. Let's move on to business item number 8, the presentation of Avenue of Flags Median 3 concept designs. This is Cal Poly Landscape Architecture Design Studio, spring of 2020. Ms. Tucker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. During the past few months, the Planning Department staff has been working with Cal Poly San Luis Obispo regarding a design studio project for Median 3 on the Avenue of Flag. The scope of the project was for students to create conceptual designs for a civic-themed median that included a town plaza, amphitheater, park, and community amenities on Median 3 using the Avenue of Flags specific plan as a the work involved landscape architect students from 2 design studio classes during spring quarter. Initially, student site visits were scheduled for early April. However, the COVID situation changed all of that, and classes were taking place online. Professors did conduct virtual tours of Median 3 for the students, and some of the students visited independently themselves. And then planning staff, Kara Michi and myself, we participated every few weeks in the design studio classes. We engaged with the students. We listened to some of their questions and answered some of their questions. Participated in their concept review, provided them feedback. And it was a very, very rewarding experience for us. There was a very talented group of students that were working on it, and we were very fortunate and pleased with the results. In early June, the 35 students each presented their final exam, in essence, which was the final design concept on the day of their final exams. The presentations were in the form of YouTube videos and accompanying design boards. City staff reviewed all of the 35 videos that were presented, and we ranked them, and we presented the top 5 designs to the Planning Commission. back in June. And we also provided Planning Commission with additional 7 designs that we thought had merit, and they were able to view those. So those same 5 top 5 designs will be shown tonight to the City Council. We have added one additional concept design, which was actually in the designs of merit, but at the request of Mayor Sierra, and as a result of public comments that we received, we felt that it was important for council to watch that 6th video as well. We're going to be showing the 6 videos in sequence, one after the other, and at the end of the viewing, council will have an opportunity to comment on the videos and ask questions. The 2 professors who conducted the design studio classes, David Watts and Cesar Torres, are in the audience with us tonight. They're available to answer any questions that you might have. So just wanted to let you know that they are available. One other thing that I would like to mention that we had provided to the Planning Commission as an information item, not as part of the regular agenda, but an information item, access to all 35 videos and to watch at their leisure. And if that's something that council would like to do, we're happy to provide that as well. But you do have, you'll be viewing 6 of them tonight. In your staff report, you have links to, and just let us know if you'd like access to all of the 35 to watch at your leisure. So the recommendation tonight is that the City Council review the videos and the design posters, which were included as attachments to the staff report, and provide any comments on the design elements. Just let us know what you think and ask any questions that you have, and enjoy watching the videos. Madam Mayor?
Unmute. Thank you very much, Sherma. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to seeing them.
So Andrea will actually be streaming the videos.
Thank you, Andrea. There you are.
All right, unmuted myself. So like Irma said, I'll just be playing them one after the other. And so it'll be about 12 minutes of videos here, and then we'll regroup afterward.
Thank you.
Redesign for Buellton. Buellton does not have that much going on. It's a small town and the median was blank and empty, which meant endless possibilities for design. My main goal for the project was to introduce a new landmark ID to Buellton by designing in an Art Deco style and by having a unique landmark feature. Unlike that main objective where I was to focus on Art Deco, I focused on a life that occurred during that Art Deco era, which was jazz and swing. This, my median design. The first eye-catching features are the neon colors, which are actually paving colors that spill out onto the street. It accomplishes 3 things. 1, it is an eye-catcher for tourists traveling by vehicle. Most people who visit the Avenue flags don't actually stop in the Avenue or in Buellton at all. The colored paving is an attraction for those people who are just passing by. 2, it forces drivers to slow down. Because the pattern is not parallel with the roadside, it forces drivers to slow down to make sure that they know where they are going. And 3, in conjunction with the following that it accomplishes, it creates an attraction for people to actually stop and visit the site. The paving has leading lines towards all the main entrances to the site and invites people who are driving to actually stop and visit the median. Revisiting my goals, one standalone landmark was not enough to make tourists remember Buellton, so I made the whole site a landmark. The site itself is full with colors and these lights and water features. There are these mounds that are strategically placed as to allow drivers to only catch a glimpse of the life that occurs within the median. There is a story of jazz that unfolds here. The seat walls are rests, symbolically on a music staff and literal as well. The light features represent dancing and swinging, and the mounds are improvisational features that interrupt the common rhythm and axis of the site. There's so much more to learn about my project that I cannot tell you about in 2 minutes. So if you're interested to learn more about my ideas, please contact me at the information provided below. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn about my project.
Hi, my name is Tanya Moss. I'm a transfer landscape architecture student at Cal Poly, and this is my vision for the Avenue of Flags Median 3. Located in Buellton, California, the Avenue of Flags Median 3 project is a part of a multi-step project for all 5 medians. The vision for this project is to provide a high-quality public gathering space that preserves the history and captures the character of the community. Inspired by the historic value of the Avenue of Flags and the prominence of the wind on the site, the patriotic wave design is a conceptual representation of a flag waving in the wind. It is evident in the movement of the curvilinear pathways, organic forms, and the meandering bioswale. To reinforce the concept and to create a vertical geometric frame that speaks to our Deco style, I incorporated rows of flags on the perimeter of the site, while the historic flag remains the focal point. The site amenities are a restroom and a visitor center that also serves as a snack and coffee bar. The design elements include an entrance plaza, a playground, dining and sitting areas, and an amphitheater. I chose to work with the steepest part of the site and build the amphitheater into the topography. It is a large gathering space covered with a drought-tolerant lawn, with concrete benches that also serve as retaining walls. This flexible space is easily adaptable to different needs and events. To address stormwater runoff, I incorporated a bioswale with a detention pond. It connects to Zaca Creek watershed and promotes education of local ecology. The site also incorporates California native vegetation and many trees that provide shade. For traffic calming solution, I increased the width of the median by 10 feet on the east and west sides and by 15 on the north and south ends. This park is designed to bring people together no matter the differences. The flag will continue to wave in the wind, but we are the ones who assign and refine its meaning. Otherwise, what is a flag if not just a colorful piece of fabric?
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah Weinstein. Median 3, I decided to create multiple mixed-use spaces that focus on community to create a space that brings the city of Buellton, California together. Much of my design is influenced by the wants of the Buellton city planners, including placing an amphitheater and plaza at opposite ends of the median. On the south end of the median is a multi-use plaza. There are some permanent seating structures in the shape of gears to celebrate the city's reputation as a service town. These are covered by shade sails and are near trees to provide even more shade. The plaza is intended to be a central gathering space as well as an area for farmers markets and other events. In the center of my design for the median is a designated space for flags, which is adjacent to a picnic seating area and an interactive fountain. The paving used in my design is made up of permeable pavers with staggered edges to invite people to step off the main path and interact with the different elements of the space. I really wanted to include spaces for local vendors within the median and included spots for 2 kiosks as well as food trucks. The kiosks are based off ones I've seen in Bridgeport Village, Oregon. This area is inspired by the design theory of priming, as the site and scent of food will welcome visitors. These kiosks can also sell concessions for events that take place in the nearby mixed-use performance area on the north end of the median, events such as graduation ceremonies, movies, concerts, and more. Overall, I wanted the median to have multiple spaces that are open and can be transformed for a variety of uses. Thank you for listening.
Landscape architecture student at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I designed The Daily Grind. The Daily Grind is a conceptual design for a new park located in downtown Buellton, California that commemorates and enhances the Avenue of Flags. The purpose of this project is to support the transformation of the downtown into a vibrant, pedestrian-friendly main street that honors veterans, engages local community, and encourages visitors to learn more about Buellton. The overarching goal of the project is to provide something for everyone by specifically creating multifunctional spaces, such as the main green, historic walk, event center, garden, kids' world, family area, and plaza that is located on site and designed for all users. By way of quick background, the Avenue of the Flags is a historical site which comprises 8 iconic American flags that were dedicated by Ronald Reagan in support of the Vietnam War and is held dear to the citizens of Buellton. Buellton's roots lie in agriculture, car culture, and patriotism. This new design and redevelopment project are intended to assist the city of Buellton in creating a new identity, showcasing its past and present while creating a charming and unique Art Deco aesthetic to welcome the future. At the forefront of my design thinking are the needs of people. It is imperative that the design caters to all demographics, and that is why the spaces on site are multifunctional and have so much variety. Visitors to the Daily Grind can intuitively navigate through the median with its rhythmic flow. As you enter on foot from 2nd Street, you are captivated by the immense event center that is ready to host any city event. Once you pass the building's arch, you enter the park realm, where you can escape into a green safe haven. As you reach 2 curvilinear walls, you enter the Flag Plaza, which pays tribute to Buellton's roots and patriotism while reinforcing the scenic views of the local community. It is a place to pick your own adventure so that each user can have their own unique experience. Thank you for your support of this important project. Hi, my name is Miriam Abutabik, and this project concludes my 2nd year of landscape architecture at Cal Poly. The city of Buellton intends to design a new downtown core on a traffic median on the Avenue of the Flags roadway. Buellton is located in the crossroads of Highway 101 and 246 and is nicknamed Service Town USA because it is an ideal location for automobile repair and maintenance. This created a rampant car culture in Buellton with many seasonal car shows. The Avenue of the Flags is the historical original location of Highway 101. 8 American flags line the roadway, and there is a plaque dedicated by Ronald Reagan and 2 patriotic memorials on the 4th median. Median 3, or the Civic Junction, is located directly north of Median 4. This design of the median aims to bring Buellton's community together in a way that embraces the comforts of the past. The design is very straightforward and leaves no room for confusion on how to act in the space, creating a sense of familiarity. A clear axial line bisects the space with a large central plaza in the middle of the site. The repeated diamond paving pattern derives inspiration from hood ornaments, creating a new emblem for Buellton that alludes to the city's car culture in an Art Deco style that is unique to the area. The Rufus T. Buell Civic Plaza incorporates play for both adults and children alike through a series of bench swings and interactive water features surrounding the historic flagpole. The paving pattern surrounding the plaza is colored red and white to complement the flag's colors. Movable furniture is placed throughout the space, allowing it to be flexible for potential car shows and farmers markets. South of the Civic Plaza is the Zaca Recreation Area, which has a large grassy lawn and a seating area overlooking Zaca Pond. The north end features Cuesta Flex Space. Here you can find a visitor center with information on upcoming and current events, another flexible seating area with an art gallery celebrating Buellton's local artists, and an amphitheater with stair-style seating.
I'm from Los Angeles. I'm a second-year landscape architecture student at Cal Poly, and I'm excited to share with you my design, Median 3 Avenue of the Flags. Some goals and objectives I had for this project were to reinvigorate cultural touchstones of Buellton's heritage and history, to include vintage automotive elements in the Art Deco design of built elements, and to include educational and historic signage. My concept for the median is a journey through the timeline of transportation, from sales to automobiles. I was inspired by the Buellton community's love for car culture, and I also sought to embrace, rather than suppress, the windy nature of the site. In my site analysis, I discerned good locations to place kinetic sculptures in response to this wind element. I wanted the space to be both a neighborhood park and downtown event plaza. I found a good solution for that through a concept model that I made during my design process. It is an hourglass-shaped tunnel structure that serves as a central focal point and divides the median into two spaces. The southern side of the median is more naturalistic and peaceful, while the northern side provides more spaces for eating and events. To create continuity throughout the design, the southern side represents a time before conquering land travel with the automobile. It has more rolling hills, trees, and wind-themed structures like pinwheel sculptures and fun wind-themed play structures. The south embraces the wind because travel by sea using the wind was the primary source of travel before vehicular land travel. The northern side represents modern-day car culture. It has more lighting elements, gear-themed kinetic trees, and built community space. The visitor center building on the southern side is placed on the path to act as a threshold for entering into the time tunnel. The time tunnel represents the time jump between the two eras and showcases an interactive timeline of transportation models. I decided to make the tunnel a more open structure. It has arches that echo the shape of the original model and light up with neon lights at night. It also has diamond-shaped fun educational panels that rotate a little with the wind. I did much of the historical research on my site inventory team, and because I've always really loved history, I was excited to employ that in my design. History is best learned when it's a fun experience, so I designed the journey through the space to tell a story with interactive hands-on activities for children and families. History is something that I think really defines a sense of place, so I think this design perfectly addresses Buellton's desire to make its new downtown development uniquely its own.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, I wish I had half that creativity. Before I have council ask any questions, I'm just wondering if either Professor Watts or Torres would like to say anything about the videos or the students.
Just that we were, this is second year, and so they're very early on in the program, and we were really pleased with the quality of design thinking that we were able to garner by the end of the quarter here. And I think that in Lulu's video there was really nice how she was able to encapsulate the process, the journey that we set the students on from the beginning of the quarter with this project, with help and direction from Irma and Kara, helping guiding us along the way there. So overall, for where they are in the program, we were really pleased with the level of thinking, and most of the designs are more thoroughly thought out detail-wise in terms of some of them actually figured out the grading plan for their project and what they were envisioning. So it's beyond. We tried to make sure that they were creating things that were realistic, that like this could conceivably happen. So thank you very much for sharing the resources and the project with our studio. We had a great time with it. Kara and Irma were simply amazing to work with. And it's really sad that we weren't able to come down and spend time with all of you during the process, because I think that would have really enriched the experience for the students. So maybe next time there'll be another opportunity for that to occur. And so thank you very much for all of that resource.
Truly appreciate the participation of Cal Poly with our Median 3. Before I go to public comment, do council have any questions about any of the videos? Vice Mayor Mercado, did you have any comments, any questions? Yes.
comments. I think it was a great job. There were some things I liked on all of them. I think there was a good mix that when the time comes, you take a little bit from each one of them that can make it work out. There's a few things. I don't think the JPI would like the water situation. It just might be something that we'd have to look at. But the concept was great. But I think overall they did an outstanding job. Way to go, Cal Poly.
Thank you very much. Were there any questions for the professors or for Irma or Kara or Andrea before I go to public comment? Councilman Andrusik, any questions?
Not a question, ma'am. Just had a comment.
Okay, hang on just a sec. I've got 3 public comments, and then I'll get back to council member comments. So I'm opening it up for public comment. I got 3 of them in, and I wanted to thank Irma for putting the last one in. I watched the Planning Commission meeting from last month when they reviewed these films, these proposals, and both Kathy Vreeland and Peggy Brierton had submitted public comment regarding the 6th video that we saw, the journey through the timeline, transportation from sales to automobiles. And I really wanted to see that so I could understand what they were talking about. As it turned out, we do have a public comment about one of those items as well. Our first one is from Peggy Brierton. Dear Mayor Sierra and council members, I found elements in several of the designs presented by Cal Poly students really interesting. That said, my favorite conceptual design overall is a journey through the timeline of transportation from sales to automobiles created by Lulu Tweetmeyer. It checks most boxes. With a few changes and some clarifications that would come with future drawings, I see this concept design offering Buellton an opportunity to have something uniquely our own, as Ms. Tweetmeyer puts it so well, a true, memorable, and must stop and see place, as well as a usable and fun community gathering place. It is virtually important that quality materials, including art elements, are used throughout this medium. What I particularly liked was the overall design. The proposal is creative, uniquely special, gives us spaces we ask for and connects to our history. It gives a thoughtful nod to Art Deco in a creative and modern way. This functional art design medium will attract tourism on its own merits. The time tunnel serves both as an interactive sculpture and showcases Buellton's history in a fun and unexpected way. I'm assuming this is not the final version of this element, realizing further development of the concept will be done if this is the chosen design. I can see articles written in Sunset or AAA magazines recommending Buellton's median as a must-see on a road trip up Highway 101. The kinetic sculptures, she wants to understand more clearly where placement of kinetic sculptures would be, better visual images of these proposed sculptures, and how many are proposed. Sometimes less can be more. Food truck stop locations, placement of amphitheater with murals behind, 2 bathroom locations. I like the 2 bathroom facilities because of the activities that are proposed for this medium. Catch basin, only if the catch basin is a usable space when it's not capturing rainwater. Recommended changes would be the pond. The community would be better served with a plaza in this area instead. And the playground, instead of a playground, she would recommend a sculpture garden that children can interact with. Suggestions to enhance the journey, proposal widen the medium, such as Tanya Moss with Patriotic Wave. Use kiosk as the visitors information center, such as Hannah Weinstein's LA 204 Avenue flags. What I am strongly not in favor from other design proposals, interactive water features, swinging benches, play parks with slide swings, etc., dog park, outside exercise equipment area. Respectfully, Peggy Brierton. I have one from our Arts and Culture Committee. At the July 7th meeting of the Arts and Culture Committee, members discussed the concept designs for Median 3 created by students of the Cal Poly Landscape Architecture Design Studio. The following comments were received. Likes, elements that best accommodate arts and culture was a plant cell inspired base form as shown in Nico Workman's nature-inspired Buellton. The individual areas encompassed by trees and other landscaping each have a unique identity and function, inviting people to stay and relax in the space. The meandering paths, the artistic pavers, the large amphitheater at the north end as shown in Tanya Moss's Patriotic Wave, restrooms, places for food like a snack bar, coffee kiosk, or for food truck spots, a mix of permanent and temporary seating, interactive fountains creates a huge draw to the area. Would like to see with lights for a nighttime display as well. A large community bulletin board with spaces to showcase the work of local artists and advertise future events to take place on the medians, as shown in Nayella's Rojas Funneling Old Plus New Traditions. Spaces for temporary portable panels for art displays that can be rotated out and moved. Traffic calming measures using paint, such as Mr. Moore's Swing Up the Avenue. Dislikes from our Arts and Culture Committee that they felt would not lend to the desired aesthetic is additional flags, playground equipment, designs that were too jumbled or would feel crowded due to too much being proposed, designs that were too reflective as other areas in the city, such as the Botanic Garden, desire to create a unique aesthetic, and overplaying the car culture idea. And I have one more. This is from Annie Yakudis. Let's see. I agree with staff that Tanya Moss's Patriotic Wave project is the best place to start. Does she get a prize or something? Maybe the Arts and Culture Committee should compensate her for her time and good work. Artists are forever being expected to work for free. Let's shift that. Her serpentine design, landscape design, using the same California native plants that folks have been seeing as they drive up and down 101. So good. Oak and sycamore, willow and tulle, wild roses, really shady, an immersive experience like a local riparian corridor, like a walk down by a river, shelter from the noise of the highway, a contemplative spot that both welcomes the stranger and acknowledges that people live right on this street. People live here, a place to pause. I suggest using the Botanic Garden as inspiration. I suggest emphasis upon our natural history, environmental treasures, and the culture of the indigenous people who thrived here for centuries before we came along. I would argue this is a more authentic version for our town than Art Deco. Not sure where that idea came from. Or even patriotism, already clearly demonstrated in the narrative sculpture military memorial down the way, the giant flagpoles, and even the name of the street itself. The land of the Chumash people extends from Point Conception all the way to Malibu and out to the Channel Islands. If Buellton is to be a gateway, is it not also a gateway to all of that? I like the amphitheater, but isn't Median 2 all about outdoor events and whatnot? What if Median 3 had something more immersive? A site-specific installation by a major contemporary artist, for example, becomes a destination in itself. If arts and culture are to be fundamental to the community, let it be for real. If there was time, I would include information about Agnes Dennis, James Turrell, Robert Irwin, and others. There is a specific piece I could say more about specifically that illustrates how powerful something very simple can be. Traffic calming, full-length banners that hang from our gigantic streetlights could utilize the same light to create sublime effects after dark and interplay beautiful with breeze and sunlight during the day. Street murals are good too. I mean, right on the asphalt, like in DC, New York City, and Martinez, California. Art is good for the spirit, not marketing that talks about art, but art that really does what it's supposed to do, which is to elicit a sense of wonder. And nature beats art every time. That is my diatribe. Please use it as you see fit. I recognize that my way of expressing myself may not be ideal for the government format, but it's what I've got, so feel free to blame it on artistic vision. Sincerely, Annie Euclidis. That's all I have. Linda, did we have any other public comment?
No, ma'am.
One more time.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Then I'm going to bring it back to council for their comments about what we've gotten in public comments, what the Professor Watts has said, and what we've had a chance to watch on screen. I'll start with Councilman King. Your comments?
Yes, ma'am. I think these kids all work really hard. They did a great job on this. I think they're going to have a career in architecture or at least landscaping design. And I really appreciate them putting forth the effort for us.
Any comments about what you liked or didn't like from the videos?
Well, they all have their merits. Some of them are, and somebody said they didn't like the outside exercise, but stuff like that makes spaces like this useful. I don't know that we necessarily want to put any water on there because that requires a lot of maintenance. But I like the idea of having the trees around the perimeter. That was an interesting concept on there. But we'll just have to go further down the road and see which one we finally end up with.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Sanchez, your thoughts?
Yeah, I wanted to thank Irma and Kara for doing their homework. And it must have been fun to work with the kids doing all that. And we gave them good guidance. I think it was nice. I like kind of the art thing. The thing that kind of caught my eye was that the big tunnel and the artwork. It becomes a destination, something that must see. Maybe not all of it, but part of it. So there'd be some draw from the freeway, and people stop and stay in town. And I was impressed with all of their hard work. I want to thank them for their input.
Thank you. Councilman Andrusik, your comments?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I believe, and this is ever since cityhood, so it's been over 20 years, so many people are anticipating change on the Avenue of Flags. And I think these folks have collectively brought to us all we need to get moving on Median 3. Median 3 is best utilized. It's the only one that has a topography that can easily be made into a functional amphitheater design. And I appreciate Tanya bringing it up, and we've had a couple of other mentions of it. But, we have an amphitheater at Botanic Garden, and it is utilized, and it's very functional. And I really would hope that we could capitalize on the topography without getting bulldozers in there to change the topography of Median 3. It is a natural for people to drive down the avenue. We're stopping here. We've got a visitor center for them. We've got all the things they want. We're telling the story about the history of Buellton and the Central Coast. And I think we really need to be frugal with our investment, but yet these people can get out of their cars. They don't have to pay $12 to get in or talk to somebody. They can sit on the ground and enjoy the Avenue of Flags at Median 3. And I'm just really excited about these students bringing that voice forward. And I thank each and every one of them for it. Tanya was the first one that I perked up when I heard her say it. And it went on through Miriam and everyone else that did mention it. But I just really think we need to appreciate what Median 3 is and not try to redesign it. It's natural. It's there. And I believe our residents and our visitors would appreciate us being frugal and functional. And that's been I think this is the closest I've seen. We've been to quite a few opening presentations in the community, and I believe that if anything should be a central theme, and if not, please explain why not, because it's a natural for Buellton, and I would wholeheartedly be impressed with us utilizing amphitheater design on Median 3.
Thank you, sir. Art, did you want to add anything to your comments from earlier? Or?
No, well, yes. I think the students did an outstanding job. And thank Professor Watts. Like I said, being a Cal Poly alumnus, I like to see the fact that they came out and brought something to us that actually, with combination of all of them, like I agree with Ed and everyone else that, the amphitheater, you look at some of the tunnel, I think, and I like the history part of it. I think that just shows off our little town of Buellton, with having the kiosk there that can be converted to information, or if we did have something on the amphitheater, it could be used multi-purpose. I think that type of stuff you utilize more and makes a good investment. Trees, I've always been a big fan of trees, more greenery. So I think with a combination of all five, or even the sixth one, there's a lot to work with here, and it's food for thought. But Median 3 has been will be our showcase, and I think if we take the time and effort, we'll have something that the city of Buellton will be proud of. But we'll get people in, and it would just make this a boom town.
I agree. I agree with everybody about the amphitheater. I think, like you said, Vice Mayor, the Median 3 is going to be Buellton's showpiece. This is Median 2 is going to be a very nice parking lot. Median 3 is what's going to draw everybody to Avenue of Flags, and I like the idea of the amphitheater. I was not. The playground, the water features, California is a pretty dry state, so I just don't see water features, and we do get a breeze, so the water's going to blow. And the playground, I'm not sure I want kids running across the street to get to a playground. I like the idea of the visitor center. And if we could get the 2 restrooms, one on each side, the medium's a pretty large medium. I really liked Hannah Weinstein's the shade sails. I think that was a really smart idea. And I like the meandering. I like the idea of walking along a path, and the landscaping. It all looked nice, all the trees. The biosphere, I'm not so sure. I really like the permeable paving, and I don't know if we need a biosphere on the median because of the shape of it. But that sounds like it could almost be a problem if we had water in it and people got into it. Anyway, I was just blown away by the creativity of these students. I mean, the swing up the avenue. Who comes up with this treble clef note with paint? It was just it's amazing. The daily grind, the they were all the Civic Junction with its bold. I mean, she's going with car emblems as part of the pavement. It was really impressive, and I am so grateful to Professor Watton Torres for participating in this exercise, and I really hope, as Council Member Andresic said, that we've got what we need. We can cherry pick the best of that one and video 1 and video 3 and come up with something that our city would be really proud of. So thank you. Irma? You're cut.
Yeah,
you're good.
Okay. Yeah, so I really appreciate all the comments and the thoughtful comments really from the council members. And it is our intent to go through these and really, as the council mentioned and as the Planning Commission mentioned, to pick out the elements that, come up with a hybrid and maybe take a look at, some options and see if we can take designs up to the next level if that's the council's desire in the future. So we'll continue to work at this because there's a lot of good opportunities there, options, and again, I think they did a fantastic job.
Thank you. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you, Professor Watts. Thank you, Professor Caesar, Professor Torres, excuse me. And yeah, thank you all very much. Okay, now we move on to something even more exciting, a zoning change in the city of Buellton. Agenda item number 9, ordinance number 20-05, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Buellton, California, considering revisions to Title 19 zoning of the Buellton Municipal Code 20-ZOA-02 relating to electric vehicle charging station permit expediting, amending sections 19.02.030 and 19.12.020, and adding section 19.06.280. This is a second reading. Ms. Kiefer, take it away.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. On June 25th, 2020, the City Council introduced and held the first reading of ordinance number 20-05, which is an ordinance updating Title 19 of the zoning of the Buellton Municipal Code pertaining to electric vehicle charging station permit expediting. At this time, the recommendation is that the City Council consider the adoption of ordinance number 20-05, which is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Buellton, California, considering revisions to Title 19 zoning of the Buellton Municipal Code relating to electric vehicle charging station permit expediting, amending section 19.02.030 and 19.12.020 and adding sections 19.06.280 by title only and waive further reading. And that concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions if you have them.
Thank you. First of all, do we have any questions for Andrea? Not hearing any?
I have one.
Certainly. Councilmember Sanchez, your question?
How many if there are any current permit requests for the electric?
So
to get up if they want to.
So we don't have any currently in process here, but we do, as you know, we have electric vehicle charging stations, one station with 2 ports at City Hall, and then we also have several charging stations at the Marriott Hotel. At this time, those are the ones that are existing that we've already taken through the permit process, but these new standards would apply for any new applications coming in. At this point, we don't have any.
And if someone had the vision of putting a charging station at their business, so at any business wanted to add that to their parking lot,
right?
This will expedite it.
That's correct.
Well, good deal. Thank you.
Righty. Thank you. I will open it up to public comment. I don't have any public comments here. Do you have anything, Linda?
No, I don't.
Okay, then I'm closing public comment, coming back to City Council for discussion or a motion.
I would make a motion to accept the ordinances as read.
By title and waive further reading?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Andrasik made the second motion. Linda?
Okay, Councilmember Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilmember Andrasik.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Mercado.
Aye.
And Mayor Sierra.
Aye. Thank you. Agenda item number 10, ordinance number 20-06, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Buellton, California, authorizing the implementation of a community choice aggregation program by participating in Central Coast Community Energy's Community Choice Aggregation Program. This is a second reading. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. As you'll recall, at the May 28th meeting, the City Council directed staff to return with documents to consider joining the Monterey Bay Community Power Collaborative or Aggregation Program. Staff did return with those documents on June 25th, and at that time, the City Council adopted a resolution to request membership in this organization and introduced for first reading the ordinance before you tonight to authorize implementation of the Community Choice Aggregation Program. This ordinance before you tonight is here and is ready for second reading. Before the City Council takes that action, though, if that's what action the council chooses to take, I would note that there has been a change to the ordinance as it's been presented to you this evening. Staff has been advised by Monterey Bay Community Power that they are anticipating changing the name of the organization to more accurately reflect the geographic area that they will serve. The name change is anticipated to be Central Coast Community Energy. And as this change will take place prior to the filing of the city's request to join and the ordinance with the California Public Utilities Commission, it's important that the ordinance and the resolution reflect this new name. To that end, the language within the ordinance has been changed to reflect the name change from Monterey Bay Community Power to Central Coast Community Energy. The resolution that the City Council adopted previously has also been changed to reflect that. This change was run through the City Attorney's Office. The City Attorney analyzed the situation and advised that rehearing or reintroduction of the ordinance or the resolution is unnecessary, as what this essentially boils down to is correction of a clerical error. I'm sure the City Attorney can answer any questions the Council may have on that. With that, I will conclude my report. I will note that Mr. J.R. Killigrew from Monterey Bay Community Power or Central Coast Community Energy is here to answer any questions the City Council may have. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, so first of all, do council members have any questions for our city manager or for Mr. Killigrew? Let's see, Ed, any questions?
No, ma'am.
From you? Mr. King, any from you? Questions?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Oh. Vice Mayor Mercado?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and Councilman Sanchez, any questions?
I just was wondering if somebody doesn't change anything, they don't have any solar, and they're just getting regular power, will their bill change at all, or does it not affect anybody who's not involved in that?
Thank you, Council Member. Yeah, so effectively, the only change on the PG&E bill for the customers within Buellton would be a new page reflecting the Central Coast Community Energy electric generation charges. Those replace the PG&E electric generation charges. It actually gives you a credit back to what you would pay them for electric generation charges. And since our rates are lower, the net benefit is an overall lower bill for the consumer. But effectively, the bill still comes from PG&E. The only difference is you have a new page reflecting the Central Coast Community Energy electric generation charges.
Well, thank you.
And I did want to just commend City Manager Wolf. This was an interesting, I call it, opportunity for us just to reflect that our policy board has given staff the direction to update our Joint Powers Authority, and so we formally become Central Coast Community Energy on September 4th of this year. So when we wanted to file the implementation plan to the California Public Utility Commission, we didn't want to have a resolution and an ordinance with our previous name. It just it's unnecessary questions, and since we have already had board approval to migrate ourselves to Central Coast Community Energy, we felt like we wanted to do our due diligence and make that recommendation to the city.
That was smart. Very, very smart. Thank you. Let's see, if we have no other questions, I will open it up to public comment. I've got two, and I believe Linda has two of them. So I will start. The first one is from the Hermans. Dear City Council members, I'm writing to urge you to confirm your earlier vote to join the Central Coast Community Energy's Community Choice Aggregation Program for the following reasons. Our power bill will be less with CCCE. CCCE will pay us at least 2 times more for solar energy that we will sell back to them. We can choose to buy our power from PG&E or go with CCCE. CCCE provides price competition with PG&E. Buellton citizens will have more control of their energy supply. We need to break up the PG&E power monopoly. Our electric bill will look the same. It will come from PG&E, who charges for service and distribution, with an additional page for power charges from CCCE. Buying clean, renewable, local sourced energy eliminates our liability to PG&E pollution abatement costs. I would also like to thank the council for promoting the electric vehicle charging stations in the city. Thank you for this opportunity to express our concerns and strong feelings for protecting our wonderful city. Respectfully, William and Christine Herman. I have one more from Kelly Gray. Thank you for your vote, and please confirm it today. We can and should lead the greening of Santa Barbara County. This is from Kelly Gray, and I don't have any other ones. Linda, you said you had 2 of them?
Actually, I have 3. So if you'd like me to read them, I will.
Please.
Okay. This one's from Amy Wolfslau, and she says, Dear City Council, I want to first thank you for your support of green energy for the city of Buellton. This forward-thinking policy making is exactly the direction our city should be going in. Please continue to support the CCCE/MBCP. Respectfully submitted, Amy Wolfslau. And then I got one this evening from James Valaro, and that's addressed, Dear Mayor Sierra and council members, thank you for voting to join Central Coast Community Energy, also known as Monterey Bay Community Power. Please vote to confirm Buellton joining CCCE tonight. Buellton will benefit now and in the future as we have more energy supply options. Thank you also for voting to promote more e-vehicle charging stations, item number 9 in Buellton. Thank you for your time and consideration. James Valaro in Buellton. And then I have one more, and this one's from Larry Bishop. Dear Mayor Sierra and council members, thank you for voting to join Central Coast Community Energy, also known as Monterey Bay Community Power. Please vote to confirm Buellton joining CCCE tonight. Buellton will benefit now and in the future as we have more energy supply options. Thank you also for voting to promote more e-vehicle charging stations, item 9 in Buellton. Thank you, Larry Bishop from Buellton. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, then I am closing public comment, bringing it back to council for discussion. Actually, this is our second time this has come to us. Mr. Killigrew is here for any further questions, but we can discuss it, and then if anybody wants to make a motion, I will go ahead and make a motion to pass Ordinance 20-06 by title only and waive further reading on this.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Sanchez. Linda?
Okay, Mayor Sierra.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilmember Andrusik.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
No.
And Vice Mayor Mercado.
Aye.
Mr. Killigrew, thank you very much for being here tonight, too. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Mayor Sierra and council members. We look forward to introducing your membership request at our September board meeting. So I'll connect with the city manager and move on to next steps. But thank you very much, and we look forward to serving the great city of Buellton.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 11. This is consideration of city manager contract adjustment for fiscal year 2020-2021. Linda, Ms. Reed.
Okay, let me pull that up. Just give me a second here. Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. At your March 26th council meeting, you approved a 3% cost of living adjustment, COLA, for all full-time employees effective July 1st, 2020. Because the city manager's review was scheduled for June 25th, he was not included in the COLA for all employees. The city manager's contract states that he's eligible to receive the same COLA as regular employees, but it must be authorized by the council first. The council also has discretion to modify the city manager's COLA as they would like. If the council would like to address other changes to the city manager's contract, this would be the appropriate time to do so. For example, the city's personnel rules state that all department directors are to receive 8 days of management leave per year. The city manager's contract included 5 days of management leave, not 8 days. So for consistency, this provision should be reconsidered. The mid-cycle budget included a 3% COLA for the city manager, which amounts to $5,250 per year. Staff recommends that the council approve the cost of living adjustment for the city manager effective July 1, 2020, and discuss any other contract amendments at this time. That concludes staff's report, and we're available for questions.
Thank you. Okay, so first we're going to go with any questions. Does anybody have any questions for Linda about this agenda item? Vice Mayor Mercado?
Not at this time.
Okay, Councilman Andrisic?
No, ma'am.
Councilman Sanchez?
No questions.
Okay, and Councilman King?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open it up for public comment. I do not have any speaker slips. Linda, do you have any speaker slips?
I do not.
Thank you. I am closing it down with the public and bringing it back to council for discussion. You know, we worked really hard getting our budget going, and I think that right now the 3% COLA and the correcting the days of management leave to correlate with everybody else is a good idea. Gentlemen, any comments from you? I know our city manager had a really good review, and I would love to do more than a 3% COLA, but I just feel like right now with our budget that's what we should do. And if our finances are better mid-year, we can look at that again. What do you guys think?
Madam Mayor, I think
Vice Mayor Mercado, I'll start with you.
I think that we've are very lucky to have Scott. I think he's done a great job, and I would make a motion to approve his COLA and his amended pay schedule for senior employees, and I think he's done a great job for us.
Second, King.
John, you had a comment?
I'll third it.
Okay. Linda?
Okay. Vice Mayor Mercado?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember Andrisic?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Aye.
And Mayor Sierra?
Aye. We are very, very lucky to have Mr. Wolf as our city manager.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
City manager's report.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, just a few items for you this evening, actually. I want to give you a little heads up on a couple of items that are coming up at the next City Council meeting, which will be August 13th. We have a little bit of a break here at the end of July, about 5 weeks between now and our next meeting, and there are a couple of items that were going to come up on this meeting, but for one reason or another did not. The first of these was a contract with a firm called NG Services US. And the gist of this contract was to have this firm conduct an energy audit for the city to determine whether or not the installation of solar generation facilities at a couple of different city properties could result in cost savings for power generation sufficient to aid in the financing of additional improvements to the city. In particular, one of those that we're looking at would be the installation of solar street lights on Industrial Way. And as the City Council is aware, we've been looking at that in a couple of different iterations, and those iterations range from between $400,000 and $700,000. The potential is there for the city to see such sufficient savings from the installation of these solar power facilities that we could essentially fold this project in with those power generation facilities and see no net cost for them. I wanted to give the City Council a little more information before bringing this to you, though, so that you're not kind of put on the spot at the last minute. It is a rather complicated proposal, and there are a lot of ins and outs to it, and I think the City Council needs to consider this carefully. So what I would like to do is, over the next week or two, I will send you some additional information, some background, and some preliminary calculations that the service provider has come up with. Let you take a look at that. Individually, you can contact me or the Public Works Director if you would like with any questions, and we will be happy to find that answers out to you. And then we will bring this to you in conjunction with a presentation by the firm at the August 13th meeting so that the City Council can consider this at that time. The next item that was going to come before you this evening but did not was the item addressing the replacement of the flagpole on Avenue of Flags, Median 2. This did not come back to you this evening because I am still in the midst of negotiations with the property owner, or with the owner of an identical flagpole that we're hoping to acquire. There seems to be a willingness for this to allow the city to acquire that. But in addition to the acquisition of the flagpole, we need to ensure that the city has the ability to replace that flagpole with with an adequate replacement, and that the cost of doing that will not exceed the costs of the previously considered course of action. We're not finished with that analysis yet, so hopefully by August 13th that will be, and I'll have a recommendation and course of action back to the City Council at that point. Lastly, I wanted to just bring up an issue. A couple of meetings ago, the City Council adopted a resolution that essentially authorized staff through the city manager to waive various provisions of the municipal code in order to allow businesses to reopen coming out of this COVID crisis with fewer obstacles. The city has been actively working with a number of businesses throughout the city, primarily restaurants of late, and the planning department has been working with great speed at addressing a number of these restaurants. Because restaurants are required to operate outdoors now, the need for movement of the seating areas from an indoor location to an outdoor location has become imperative at this point. The outdoor locations could mean the sidewalk in front of the restaurant. It could mean a parking lot. It could actually mean the city street. And in a couple of locations, we've received applications for that, just such a city street situation. These permits are being processed very quickly, within a day usually. They're being approved very quickly with conditions that focus not only on operational characteristics, but on compliance with the health department orders and with public safety in mind. And to that end, I wanted to advise the City Council that staff has taken the action of where we have authorize the placement of seating areas within the public right-of-way, particularly along Avenue of Flags. Staff has taken the initiative to essentially rent some water-filled K-rail devices, which can be placed in such a way as to protect the seating area from vehicular traffic. The rental fee on this is fairly small, but over time it could build up. I will note, though, that the city is eligible for and has applied for CARES funding from the federal government through the state, and the funding that we will receive from that should be more than adequate to cover the costs of any of these K-rail placements that we'll make, and that we should have additional funds beyond that that will cover some of the additional expenses that the city has incurred dealing with the COVID situation. So with that, I will end my report this evening. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the city manager? I have a quick one. I know I saw a copy that Mother Hubbard sent, so you must be working with them. They wanted to go out into some parking spaces, and I'm not sure what's that. Have you heard anything from John Oltman at Ellen's? He's got a parking lot that he could put tables out there.
I have spoken with Mr. Oltman. I went and paid him a visit earlier in the week, and or maybe it was late last week, actually. And I spoke to him about his placement out there and have asked him to contact the planning department. I believe he has reached out and made contact with the planning department. Andrea, do you know, has he submitted an application at this point?
He has not submitted an application, but I have been talking with him and communicating back and forth with what we would require from him. So I'm just at this point waiting on those materials from him.
I truly appreciate it. We got to keep our businesses as healthy as we can. So I truly appreciate. I had called last week and was told that Mr. Wolf was out visiting with local merchants, and I truly appreciate you going out and communicating with them and working with planning department. I truly do. So thank you. No other questions for the city manager?
Not at this time.
All righty.
And a thank you. I think it's a good deal. I had breakfast in Santa Barbara this morning at the Peace and Love Cafe, and people were walking right through the middle of the dining room. It was nice, and everybody was accommodating, and it was a nice touch. And I just want to thank the city staff for helping the businesses in expediting that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Murphy.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Now the City Council will adjourn into closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 to discuss one item of potential initiation of litigation.
All righty. It's 7:43. We'll start the meeting at about 7:50, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Do we